Hey, how about it, race fans? It's Richard Allen of InsideDirtRacing.com and InsideCircleTrack.com, coming at you with another edition of Rich's Ramblings. And today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite topics, something that me and Michael Moats talk about a lot on the Turn 2 blogs that we do, especially on InsideDirtRacing.com, and that is the subject of a well-run racing program. And last night, I should say Wednesday night. This is Thursday when I'm doing this. So on Wednesday night, I watched the Flow Racing Night in America, the Castrol Flow Racing Night in America series race at Spoon River in Illinois, and I also watched at the same time World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series racing in Pennsylvania at Lincoln Speedway. So both of those shows were just really, really well run. And when I say well run, I'm not talking necessarily about what time the feature started, all that. Although I would throw in that I believe that the primary feature, whatever it is. So if you go to a show that say has the Lucas Oil late models or the World of Outlaw late models, World of Outlaw sprints, whatever the primary show is, that main event should never start later than 10 o'clock because for a race like that, for a Lucas Oil late model race, you're going to have people who have driven 3-4 hours to get to it. And if you keep putting it off and having delay after delay, and it winds up you don't start that race till like 11 o'clock, it's going to be 12 or later before the fans can get out of there, get away from the track, and you're asking them to not get home until 3 a.m., 4 a.m. if they've driven for a very long way. So promoters need to get away from that as much as they possibly can. But like at last night's Flow Racing, they did have modifieds as part of the show too. Both classes qualified, both classes heat race, both classes B main. They kept the show flowing the whole time. So when I say a well-run show, like I said, I'm not necessarily talking about what time the feature starts or anything like that. I'm talking about keeping things moving rather than looking for ways to delay. And it seems like sometimes you'll go to a track and they're looking for ways to delay things. They build in an intermission, which to me is just totally useless. I understand the track prep. I get that. They get to go out and put some water on the track or something of that nature. That happens sometimes. It has to be done. I've been to racetracks where there's just been an intermission with nothing happening, just an intermission. That's just pointless. That's obviously just an attempt to sell an extra hot dog or something. That's unnecessary. And, you didn't have anything like that at Spoon River on Wednesday night with the Castrol Flow Racing Night in America series. Now, with the World of Outlaw sprint cars that raced at Lincoln Speedway, this would be a hard ask of a promoter. It depends on the situation and what series you have coming in, but they were the only series on the docket. There was no support class. There's nothing. It was just they hot lapped, they qualified, they heat raced, last chance showdown, dash race, and on into the feature. Of course, there were some breaks in there in between, which there would have to be. There's no way you could just go one to the next. But the show was run efficiently. I was watching on Dirt Vision with that race, watching obviously on Flow Racing with the other race, and kind of had two separate devices going at the same time. And there was never a time where I felt like they're just wasting time. Never felt that way with either one. While there have been a number of times where I've just felt like they're just wasting time. And I think it's important for promoters whenever you do have support classes running to understand and know your support class. Know that there's that one support class that always has a lot of cautions, always had a lot of trouble. Don't put them right in front of that main feature. Don't have them right in front of the Lucas Oils or right in front of the World of Outlaws. Have them going later, whatever class it is. And promoters, if you pay attention, you know your classes. You know what they do and what they don't do. So try to have your more efficient classes if you're going to run, whether they're running their heat races or B mains or whatever they're doing. Have them run in front of the in front of the main series and then put the others off to last. And what that does too, when you have features that come after the main feature, it gives the people who have traveled long distances, it gives them an opportunity to get out of the track if they need to get back home. Whereas the folks who may want to stay, the local folks who know and have a vested interest in a street stock race or a front wheel drive race or a sportsman race, whatever it might be, they have the option to stay and watch that, and it kind of helps with crowd dispersement. It helps with traffic dispersement, where if you have the primary feature to go last, everybody's leaving at the same time, and it makes it difficult to get out of the parking lot, which I have to hand it to all the big series like Lucas and the World of Outlaws, both on the late model and the sprint car side. They I don't know what their relationship is with the promoters. I don't know what kind of contractual things that they have, but more often than not, they almost never run the last feature. They're almost never the last feature. I went to both Florence and Ponderosa this past weekend with the Lucas Oil Series, and they were the first feature. They were the first division to hot lap, first division to qualify, and so on, all throughout the night until they ran the first. They were the first feature, which, like I said, with me. When I went to Florence is about a 3.5 hour drive for me. I didn't want to go up there and stay in a hotel. I just drove up. I had my son with me. We just drove up, and then we watched the Lucas Oil feature, got an interview with Ricky Thornton after it was over, and then just drove back home. Now, granted, that didn't get us home till about 2:30, but that, to me, was preferable than staying in a hotel. So anytime a series or a track or whatever can get your fans in that position where they have that option, I think that's good. But having that well-run, efficient show keeps everybody tuned in. It keeps everybody paying attention. It keeps the momentum of the night going. Where if you take these long breaks, people tend to zone out a little bit. The kids get restless and all this because there's nothing going on, or there's a class out there trying to heat race or B main. It's just one single car spin after another single car spin, causing a caution and just holding up the main event. So I would again kudos to the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series and to the Castrol Flow Racing Night in America Series for doing a great job on Wednesday night, being very efficient, being very, very thorough with how they ran things. I don't think anybody would feel like they were treated too unfairly or necessarily rushed. I don't think any of the competitors would feel that way, but at the same time, I think the fans feel like they saw a good show that was run well, that was competitive, enjoyable to watch, and didn't feel like they were held hostage there all throughout the night. So as a fan and as a media member, I definitely appreciate those efforts to have that play out like that. But anyway, those are my thoughts for today. I'm Richard Allen of InsideDirtRacing.com, and I will see you at the track.